There's something deeply satisfying about being able to sit down at your crafting desk at the end of a very busy day and just make stuff. I'm going to make the tag inserts for this little accordion style pocket. I've already got a few ideas floating around, but what I particularly wanted to do was, as this is a witch's grimoire, is to write some spells and remedies on these tags. And I've done a bit of research on different herbs and the ailments that they can treat, so I shall be adding some of that on there. I have also been cutting up from these papers, so I've made these tags. I'm not sure if they're even going to go in here yet, but I do like what I've created with them. And I have cut some other tags out from card, but also I got this tag. This was attached to my car key after it went in for a service, and I took it off the car key and I was fiddling with it, and I was just constantly doing this, and the more I did it, the more I realized how lovely and old and grunged up I was making it. So I got some of my own tags and I've started doing it with these, and then what I did was I rubbed a bit of ink in as well, so you can probably see that quite clearly. It's just a very relaxing thing to do, to be honest. Let's get rid of these little metal things. And yeah, so tonight is going to be a very gentle crafting session. I'm tired after a long day at work, and even my talking has slowed down. I've been listening to some nice relaxing music, and yeah, I'm just gonna grunge these up a bit and then decide what to do with them. Here's some of my notes I made. So we've got garlic protects from evil spirits, wards off sorcery and misfortune. Burdock mixed with nettle roots, water and vinegar is a very efficient hair tonic. Ladies' mantle tea with macerated leaves and hot water for ladies' troubles. Yes, we know what that sort of troubles are. Yarrow for stemming the flow of blood. Dandelion. Gather the leaves before flowering. Good for digestion. Leaves apparently make magenta dye, which is quite interesting as well. As usual, I don't have a concrete plan. I'm just going with the flow. I had some interaction at work with a project manager in the week, and he wanted to see my my plans for my area at work. I didn't like to tell him that we just go with the flow in comms. We have a plan, but it's kind of loose, back of the napkin kind of plan. We know what we're doing. We don't need to put it in a spreadsheet. Oh no, spreadsheets make me nervous. Yeah, look at that. I can recommend this. You need a certain thickness of card for it to work particularly well. Let's see what happens when we get some ink. Let's get this old paper. This sponge has got all sorts of colours on. I don't really care. Look at that. Go around the edges a bit as well. It would have got more worn. I think something like this might have lost a bit at some point. And it's going to have drips. bit of this. I found this bit of washi tape that I think I'd torn off from something when I decided not to use it, so I think I might stick this down. Certainly lost all its stickiness. Not too worried about this, I'll sort that out later. It's a fluff all over it. Okay, and then might rough it up a bit. That wasn't such a good idea. I should have done that when it was dry, but never mind, it doesn't matter because the intended result is the same. I just wanted it to not look pristine. I can push that there. I'll stick something else over the top of that anyway. Grab a strip of this. And rough this up. Can't believe sometimes the amount of effort I go to, just such a tiny little thing. Oh, doggy treats, doggy toys squeaking in the background. I'll punch a new hole when it's dried. It feels nice and old. There's nowhere for the spell to go, so I might have that just as a old thing. So that's one down, many more to go. The desk is covered with ideas now. So I had this from my stash, pre-made piece, and I've grunged it up a bit. Then I thought I could stick that loosely over that and then maybe do some stamping underneath. That's one idea. Then I've cut a long strip of paper and wrapped this tag. I thought this could be quite a nice place to write a spell or a list of ingredients for a healing potion or something, and you can unwrap it. So that's another idea. I've got some pressed leaves which I will stick onto some tags. I might stick them onto these ones potentially, or these. This could be quite a nice contrasting colour. Look at that, that's really nice, isn't it? These are underneath. Yeah. Super fragile, so they will need to be sealed in, or they look quite nice on a buff piece of paper. Wow, these feel so soft. Goodness me. They're so soft. They're beautiful. It could be like a specimen slide. Underneath. But that looks lovely on there. Let's grunge this up. See what that will look like on here. So let's get the old sandpaper and creasing and rubbing. And this Tim Holt cardstock. thinking of a bit of book page might work with it. Could do. Let's get rid of that raw white edge. Oh, and there's this little corner I tore off from that other tag before. So we can pop that in the corner. It's so fragile, it's just torn slightly. I need to get it stuck down quickly. Oh, decisions. Nice burnt bit. There. It's funny how you just keep moving things around, just trying, and then suddenly, you know, you've got what you're after. So I'll use this decoupage glue because that's going to make a really nice seal. Right, so before we start, let's remember, so that's the bottom layer, that's the middle layer, that's the top layer. Okay. So that was about there. Just a bit too much glue. Luckily this glue doesn't dry quickly, so you've got time to move things around until you're happy. There, I'm happy. This will dry clear. I'm just going to put another layer on top of the leaf, really give it some protection. I might come back in again when it's dry. While it's wet, I'm going to risk a spray, just out of interest, to see what reaction happens when it goes onto the glue. Might be something different. Oh, I like it. I like it. I'm also going to cut out probably this to go on another tag, and maybe some of these seed pods. These are a bit big. Save them for something else, but that's just probably about the right size. When I was doing some research on herbalism and healing recipes, I pulled out this book that we have at home by Frank Lipp, and inside I very occasionally have found some beautifully pressed flowers, and this is a second-hand book, so I don't know what they are. Hopefully you can see that it's in focus. Now what I do know is that they are going to end up in my project. So let's put them on this piece of paper here. Quite like to emulate something like this, something that looks really old. Maybe I'll copy some Latin. I love these old botanical drawings. I think with this particularly tiny one, I might add it to this. It's likely to get damaged even if I put it carefully in an envelope. So I think I'm going to add it to this, and I think it goes quite nicely on here. So I'm going to add another layer of glue. The glue's almost dry on this now, it's just a little tacky. And then I'm going to stick that one on there. Very, very gently does it. what I love about this book when I'm making the whole grimoire, and then even just these inserts, is that there's always going to be some little surprise in each of these. Each of these pieces has their own story. Why was that torn off? What's the plant? What's the sparkly stuff all over it? Quite like this onion skin too. I wonder what will happen if I try and glue that down. Let's give it a go. Let's experiment. I think we're going to need quite a bit of glue because it's curved, obviously, having been wrapped around a spherical onion. It's part of my dinner, that was. Yes, I am like the wise witch. I'm experimenting with nature's gifts. Prop it up against there so it dries. Let me see what happens. Oh, stop playing, Lisa. Stop. I just can't help it. Oh, next layer. Yeah, that would look cool on there, but let's wait and see what happens when it dries. So I've got some interesting things. I probably might not use this as a tag, but it was just inspiring me, the idea of the burnt edges. Same on that piece. It's another one of those stickers I used in earlier part of this project. Then this paper's got medicines on, so that could be something that we could cut out and create a tag from. And this looks like some chamomile. Looks like I've been splattering it with my inks. Someone else has done that in the design part. So yeah, could be something there. Pentagram there. And what's that say on the back? The world. Oh, it's a tarot card. And a whole load of veggies. I've got lots to play with, so we shall come back and play. Okay, I said I couldn't stop. I can't stop. Just picked up this coriander leaf, also left over from my dinner. Let's see what happens to this under a coat. It's not pressed or anything. I have no idea what will happen over the coming weeks to this, but I figure if I put enough coats of sealant over it, it might survive in some shape or form. I really hope that with every video I make, I'm getting a little bit better at filming. It's such a different way of filming, having your camera on this fixed point, and you have to remember to keep everything in shot and looking nice. And today's, I realised that having these, you can just see I have these lights to light up, but because I was using this, it was getting reflection because this is a shiny surface. So I'm just going to work on the worktop when I'm not doing anything too messy. And so that was today's lesson. I've also tidied up and trying not to work in such chaos. I've got everything ready as well. I've got my scissors, I've got my glue, and I've got my materials. So I'm going to make two little tags, which are a bit like specimen slides. So literally I'm just going to, I think I've moved them around. I think that was the one. That looks quite nice with the cabbages, and that one looks quite nice with what I think is probably chamomile or daisies or something. Anyway, so just cut these out and stick them on. Couldn't be simpler. Then I might add something extra. Oh, and the one I did the other day with the onion skin is now dry. It's not too bad. I think it's peeling off in a few spots, but I think maybe a few more layers of glue and obviously some stamping or something on top. I've still got my box of tiny bits, which I'm sure I can find something else to go on that tag. But I'm gradually making all the tags to go in here. I've got this one, which I've just finished off. I'll find some cord to go. I'll do all the cord parts later in one go. So I think I'll make a nice neat pile over the back there, slightly off camera, as I make them, and then we can add them all in. So we should have, I'm so organised today, I've got a finished pile and a half finished pile and a working on pile. So let's just cut out these, stick them on. So it being my birthday, I am joyously spending most of the day creating things. I think around about there will do, won't it? Just cut it slightly. That one, and then this one, round about there. Lovely paper, this, really pretty. It feels a shame to cut it up, but that's what it's for, I think. Just move it around until you find the bit that calls to you. There, that's what I like. That bit there. So just I like it a lot. It's nice, isn't it? It's pretty. Okay. Now this is a little bit too bright compared to this side, so I will ink that up. So that's on the, let's move those to the need to finish off pile. I shan't throw that away, bound to find a use for that someday. I found this lovely quote. Let's get it in camera. With mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come. Merchant of Venice, which I thought was particularly appropriate for today, which is my 54th birthday, and I have a few wrinkles. So what I'll probably do is just quietly make these so I can listen to some lovely music, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. I might film a few, fast forward, we'll see. Because it's quite a lot of making, which means quite a lot of video to watch, and a lot of the techniques are very similar, so I don't want to bore you with having to watch me do loads of cutting out and stamping, but I'll come back for the fun stuff. So I'll see you in a minute. There we are. We'll just knock that back so it's not so bright, and then that feels like it's perfect there. And I'll get some glue and we can stick this one down. Just get it exactly where I want it, but before I press it down too hard. There we go. I did my mugwort on. I'll do this one. I really like the burnt edge, so I think I will add this. Yes, I quite like that one there. Just rough that corner up, and I've got the most perfect colour, of course, for doing burnt edges is scorched timber. So we'll add some more burnt edge up there. That go down the, and then give this a good roughing up. Particularly along that fold down there. Might even be worth giving it a little. Oh yes, look at that. Just that bit. A bit on there like that. So I'll glue that on. And I might leave a tuck spot behind. Could be a good place to hide a little secret or two. Whoops. And then up here. You always know it's a good crafting day when you've got bits of glue and your hands have changed colour. Okay, got that to the pile. I've also just put some holes in these little tags I made. There's a whole bunch of those. I dug out my old calligraphy pen and some books of country lore, and I've written just a few little charms and spells. English lavender to keep moths from fray. Set a cat to catch a rat. Ring round the moon, snow soon, and all sorts of other nonsense. Well, not nonsense at all. And I've just written some more little bits and bobs, so I'm going to grunge this one up a bit. This is the, so I'm an Aries. It says Aries plants thistle, wild rose, gorse, nasturtium, woodbine and wake robin, and the trees are the holly, the hawthorn and the chestnut. Okay. This is lovely and old. I'll just pile this all up randomly. This as well. I'm going to splatter them with stuff. Taking very little care here because the idea is that this has just been, you know, dirtied over time and things have got spilt on it and scrumpled and scrumpled. That's a good word, isn't it? Very flimsy paper, this. Didn't get much onto that one. Let's give that a bit of paint there. I think we need a different colour on here. Maybe some purple. Ooh, I rather like it actually. So I love just experimenting. So let's scrumple again, and then I'm going to do some more of that effect. Yes, it's really good scrumple. When you do this, it's not too mad straight away. After a little while, it starts to soften up, and then you can really roll and work into it, like I did with this one. I mean, this one is so soft and supple now. But we can make this really scrumpled. I'll come back in a second when I've finished. That has now got the lovely, supple, almost fabric-like texture. So let's come in with some coloured paint. What shall we? Probably want the brush not too wet. We can get quite a bit of pigment on there. So let's come in with a bit of this green. Some on the back. Now some of the, it's like a deep indigo, this one. And you could of course do this with your distress inks, but it's quite nice to try a different technique. of brown. There you go. Well, that feels suitably old. How are these doing? These drying off. This one needs something on the back, I think. Let's come in and flick some of that brown. I'm entirely sure what to do with this, but definitely need something. So let's come in with quite a lot of the brown. So we're painting over the glued layer, so it's quite slippery. Yeah, let's go for some drips. And just let that dry like that and see what happens to that. It's just experimenting, which is always fun. And I think maybe we could try some of these distress sprays as well. So this one is aged mahogany. Oh, I like what's happened there. That's really good. Let's put the decay on this. Let's chuck a bit on here as well. There we go. See what happens when it dries. And on these ones, I think I might just spray. Let's move one out of the way. Rusty hinge. It's quite porous, this paper, so it's interesting to maybe see what happens when you mix in the different inks. And also on this one, I'm putting the ink down first rather than over the top, which could make a difference. Let's put some on there as well. Let's make that one a little bit more subtle. That's quite nice on there. Yeah, I won't let that one. Let's let that one drip. Flick. Okay, we'll let all these dry. I quite like how these have the inks run so much you can't really read it anymore, so the spell is lost. Oh no, the spell is lost. These are looking really good, aren't they? Nearly there now. Just going to make a reinforcement. Yes, so I've just got a couple of scraps, grunge the edges, and made a hole. I'll just put that on like that. So we'll scuff this up. Strong glue. So that was that paper that I treated with the various inks. We're getting ourselves some finished tags now, which is good. And this one, I think is finished. This one, just added a bit of paper on there and I've really just grunged it. That's the one with the onion skin and the coriander leaf. This, I think, I was going to wrap it around a tag, but now I think I'm just going to fold it up and stick it into the file. these need something. So I think I've got my Dusty Concord. Dusty Concord, whatever. I don't know what that is. Okay. It's nice. I'll do the edges in this purple. There, they're pretty. Let's see where we are. We have this one. This one. These two. This one with a bit chewed off. This one. Good. These two. Oh, that one's not finished. This one. This one. This one has a slug repelling spell. It says dilute cat urine and mix with crushed collet and sprinkle on soil under a full moon. And these two, they all fit in there. Another part of the project finished.